Hi everyone, RANA SIR is here. Welcome to our RANA SIR educational channel. Today I will talk a topic whose name is coordinate geometry. This is the chapter number 6. On this chapter number, first of all, I will explain its theory and then I will solve some questions which are also based on this topic. Okay, students. So first of all, I am going to explain you. You follow some solution point and positively, and then you proceed forward. Okay, student. First of all, you have to take one notebook and one pen, and then you have to sit at your location properly with positively. Okay, student. Now simultaneously you also like this live video and you also share this educational channel, and then you also subscribe this educational channel, and also you share this video live video with your colleagues, friend and student, so that they can also improve, that is update and develop their knowledge on this topic. Okay, student. So positively I am going to explain this topic. Okay, so here first in mathematics, that is in English medium, and it is based on NCERT pattern, that is CBSE board. And this is the chapter number 6, whose name is coordinate geometry. Now here I have to explain about Cartesian system. What is the concept of Cartesian system? Okay, student. So positively you sit at your location properly, and you also take your notebook and also one pen, and positively you write all informations which are understanding by me and also written data on the blackboard. Okay, student. So here I am going to explain about the concept of Cartesian plane. Yeah, Cartesian system. What is the Cartesian system? In this system I have to explain. If any point which is given and that point is also observed and also rotate, and that in the xy plane, then that point is called, in the case of Cartesian system. Okay, students. So here I will write Cartesian system. Suppose that here I am taking one plane, this is one plane, and here this plane I am dividing into 4 parts by 2 lines. So this line will go minus infinity, and this line will go at plus infinity. Similarly, this line will go also at plus infinity, and this line will go negative infinity. Okay, student. So each and every student has to take its meaning, because without meaning student will only remember and question can be solved. If question will be changed, so student cannot solve the question properly. Okay, student. So student, each and every student has to take its concept clearly. So Cartesian system is a system of point which is available in the xy plane, and that point is considered in the case of Cartesian system. Suppose that here I am taking two lines such that both lines are perpendicular to each other. It means that a line I am taking that is vertical. So this line I will say this is the y. This is the y-axis. I will say this is the y-axis, and also a line which is parallel to the horizontal line. In other words, we can say that a line which is parallel to the horizontal line, and that line I will say that is the x-axis, and so this will be the x-axis. So if anyone will ask her where this line will stop, so I will say that line will stop at infinity. So both lines I am taking such that if both lines are perpendicular to each other, it means that one line is perpendicular to other line, other line is perpendicular to on first line. It means that I will say the angle between these two lines will be 90 degrees. So such plane I will say that is the Cartesian system. That such system is known as Cartesian system. In this case, I will say this axis, that will be x-axis here. This I will write here. This is the y-axis, and here I will say this is the x-axis. Here I will write the x-axis. So from origin, now these two lines are intersecting each other, and when after we are getting a point, and that point is known as origin. So this is the point O, and this point is also called the point of intersection, and that point of intersection is represented as O. Means origin start from O. Origin start from O. So therefore here I have to write. So this intersection point will be O, and this coordinate value will be 0, 0. Means any point which is written in the form of T, x, y, any point which is written in the form of T, and this x point I say the ordinate. It's x point means x coordinate of this point. I say that is the ordinate, and this is the x. This is the x coordinate. Here I will say this is the x coordinate. X coordinate. This is the x coordinate, and x coordinate is also written as ordinate, and this is the y coordinate, and this is the y coordinate, and this x coordinate is written as f, and this y coordinate is written as ordinate. So here I will say this is the ordinate, or this is the ordinate. It means that in Cartesian system I have to take two lines such that both lines are intersecting at a point, and that intersection point I will say here O, that is origin, and the coordinate of that point will be 0, 0. First point is the value of x coordinate, and it is written in this way, that is f, and second is the y coordinate, and it is also written as ordinate. So each and every student has to know it very clearly. Okay, now here Cartesian system is very easy, because we have to take, and that point will be in the xy plane, such that I will take two lines, and both lines will intersect at a point, such that the angle between these two lines will be 90 degrees. So intersection point I will say that is the origin, and this coordinate will be 0, 0, and one line which is parallel to the ground axis, that is the horizontal axis, I will say that is the x-axis, and other line I will say which is perpendicular on the x-axis, I will say that is the y-axis, and that y-axis also called which is that is perpendicular to the x-axis, and it is also called that is the vertical to the ground axis, that is and that is vertical on the horizontal line. Okay, student. So this is the concept of Cartesian system. Each and every student has to know a Cartesian system is a very popular, because student has to know. Student has to take two lines such that they has to draw in the xy plane, such that both lines are perpendicular to each other, and we will get intersection point, and that intersection point I will write O, because O stands for origin. So in origin term I will take O, and its coordinate will be 0, 0. Okay, student. So Cartesian system you have to define very easy way. Okay, student. So here, what is the concept of Cartesian system? You have to write Cartesian system is a plane in which I have to draw two lines which are perpendicular to each other. The intersection point is called origin, and its coordinate will be 0, 0. And first coordinate is also written as f, and second coordinate, that is y coordinate, that is written as ordinate. So student has to remember these 2 points. What is the concept of abscissa and other is the ordinate. Okay, student. So this is the required concept of the Cartesian system. Now further I have to explain about ordinate. Here quadrant also. Okay, student. Now further I am going to erase this one. After erasing this one, I have to explain the concept of quadrant. So next topic here I have to explain in coordinate system geometry quadrant. Quadrant. Now in Cartesian system I have drawn two lines and both lines are such that both are perpendicular to each other, and intersection point I have told there, that is the origin, and that's coordinate will be 0, 0. The x coordinate will be 0, that is abscissa, and y coordinate will be 0 also, that is the ordinate. Now here I have to explain about quadrant. Quadrants. So there are 4 types of quadrant. Because here I move in this way. Here I have to move in this way. Okay, student? In anti-clockwise direction. In anti-clockwise direction. In Cartesian system, I have drawn 2 lines which are perpendicular to each other. A line which is parallel to the x-axis, a line which is parallel to the horizontal line. That line I say here x-axis. A line which is perpendicular, vertical, and also that is perpendicular on the x-axis, that is called y-axis. Okay, student. Now here I have to explain about quadrant, because these 2 lines has created four plane. This is the one, this is the second, this is the third, fourth part. First part, second part, third and fourth part. First part I will say that is the quadrant 1. Here I write quadrant 1. This is the quadrant 1. Now I will start from here, from the positive x-axis, and I will move in the clockwise direction, and then I will say this is the second quadrant. That is the second quadrant. Here I will say this is the second quadrant, and here I will say this is the third quadrant. This is the third quadrant. So I have to explain here, and this will be fourth quadrant. This will be fourth quadrant. Okay, student. So you have to take 2 lines such that both lines are perpendicular to each other, and both lines will divide the xy plane in 4 parts. So 4 part you will say one part is the first quadrant, second part is the second quadrant, and third quadrant and fourth quadrant according to the required information. But here we have to move in anti-clockwise direction. We have to move anti-clockwise direction, and this quadrant I will say this is the first quadrant, this is the second quadrant, and this is the third quadrant, and also this will be the fourth quadrant. Okay, student. Now I am going to write this meaning. Here I have to say this is the x-axis, and this will be x dash axis, and this will be y, and this will be y dash axis. Okay, student. So here I have to write line. I will say arrow, this arrow and this arrow. I will say x, o, y is called first quadrant. Here I will say x, o, y. X, y, this is the x-axis. Here I am writing x, and this is o origin, and this is y. X, o, y. This is called first quadrant. So here I will write x, o, y is called first quadrant. Similarly, I will write next information. here I will say x dash o y. I will say that is the second quadrant. X dash o y is also called, here I will write second quadrant. Second quadrant. So this is the meaning of second quadrant. Similarly, I will write x dash o y dash. That will be called third quadrant. With that information, I have to also write x dash o y dash is called third quadrant. Third quadrant. Third quadrant. If students are doing very good way, so student, you have to like this live video, and also here we have to subscribe this educational channel with your friends, colleagues and students, and also you have to share this live video with your colleagues, friends and students, so that they can also improve their knowledge on this topic. Okay students, further I am going to also write a concept of 4, that will be, and you subscribe to this educational channel more and more. So next will be x o y dash. X o y dash is also called fourth quadrant. So here I have to write fourth quadrant. So all the information about quadrant I have written. So this portion x o y I have told with you. This is the first quadrant. Here this will be the first quadrant. X dash o y. This is the second quadrant. X dash o y dash. This is also third quadrant. And x o y dash, that is also called fourth quadrant, because it is very important, because some question will be given to you and you have to tell that point is also lie where. So you have to explain in detail, because if you will know sign convention, then you will explain that point is existing in where. So after explaining that point, and then you have to explain each and every information where that point is existing. Okay student, now further I am going to explain about, I have explained here about the quadrant. So both two lines I have taken such that both lines are perpendicular to each other. It means that between two lines I have to get 90 degree, and intersection point I will say that is the origin, and the coordinate of that intersection point will be 0, 0. It means that first point I say that is the x coordinate, and its value is written as also its star, and the second point, that is the y coordinate, that y coordinate is also known as coordinate. Okay student, now here I have explained about coordinate. There are 4 coordinates because these two lines are making 4 parts, and each part I am represented as quadrant. So this is the first quadrant, this will be second, this will be third, and this will be fourth quadrant. Okay student, now next information I have to also explain. That information will be such that if any point which will lie on x coordinate, yeah, all points which are lying on the x axis, the coordinate of those points will be such as, and those information I have to write here in detail. Okay student, now further I am also going to read this information, and I will write important information, and that information, yeah, those informations are very important, because each and every student has to know it, because all coordinate of the points on the x-axis are of the form x, 0, and same I will write all coordinates of the all points on the y-axis are of the form 0 comma y. In other words, we can say that all points on the all ordinate value on the x-axis will be 0 and all abscissa on the y-axis will be 0. So each student has to remember, and the coordinate of the origin will be 0. Student has to remember because these 3 points are important. Some question can be asked if student will have any confusion, so student will get more trouble for solving the given question which are related to the coordinate geometry. Okay, student. So these are the information, each and every information student has to know. Okay, student. Now about the quadrant, I have already explained here in detail, and these information student has to know clearly. If student has any confusion or any doubt or any issue, student has to write in comment section about your positive comment, and then I will see your comment and positively I will reply the answer of your comment. Okay, student. And if you are understanding very well, so you like this live video, and also you subscribe this educational channel, and also you share this live video with your colleagues, friends and students, so that they can also update their knowledge on this topic name is coordinate geometry, and this is the chapter number 6, and this is important point I am going to explain. This is the totally free online teaching classes, and that is starting from 10 past to 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. or 15 minutes past to 8 p.m. only Sunday will be off. Okay, student. Now during that time slot you present and you take the advantage how we are going to explain the concept of coordinate geometry. So your knowledge will be updated by these informations. Okay, student. Now further I am going to erase this information, and after erasing this information, and I will write some informations which are available in this diagram. Okay, student. Now further I am going to erase and important information I have to write here, and the student has to remember it. Okay, student. Now further I am going to write it. So unwanted data I am using here, and then I will explain it in detail. Okay, student. So first note point is such that here I am going to write note, and that is very important point, and the student has to remember, because any point are all coordinates of all points. Here I will write all coordinates, all coordinates of all points are of form x, 0. This is the important information. All coordinates of all points are of all coordinates of all points are of form x, 0. It means that if any point I will take on the x-axis, the coordinate of y-axis, the coordinate of y-axis will be 0. It means that if I will take any point from minus infinity to plus infinity, so each and every coordinate of on the x-axis, I will take the ordinate value will be 0. So that information here I have written in note form. Student has to remember, because each and every point on the x-axis, if I will take, so ordinate value will be 0. So ordinate value will be 0. This is called abscissa, and this is called ordinate. So ordinate value will be always 0 on the x-axis. So on the x-axis, in other words, in general form, I can write here x, x, 0. Any point on the x-axis, the coordinate of all points, they are coordinate of all points on the x-axis are of the form x comma 0. It means that in other words we can say that if any point I will take on the x-axis, the value of y-axis that will be 0. The coordinate ordinates value will be 0. Similarly, I will say all points all coordinates of all points on the y-axis are of the form 0 comma y. After writing, I will explain. This is the information number 1 and information number 2. I am going to write here. All coordinates of all points on y-axis are of the form 0 comma a. This is the point number 2. All coordinates of all points on the x-axis. All coordinates of all points on the x-axis are of the form x comma 0. It means that I will say the ordinate value will be 0 each and every point on the x-axis. This is the important information I wish to have to remember. Now second point is such that I will say all coordinates of all points on the y-axis. All coordinates of all points on the y-axis will be of the form 0 comma y. In other words, we can say that the abscissa value will be always 0 on the y-axis. Abscissa value will be 0 always on the y-axis, and the value of y will differ from minus infinity to plus infinity. From origin I will take positive on the y-axis, and from origin I will take negative up to minus y-axis. Okay, student. So these informations I have to know very clear, because if we will know its concept very clear, so numerical will take minimum time to solve. Okay, students. So if we need to solve any question which are related to coordinate geometry, so these are the important point, and we have to know it very clear. Okay, students. Now, so two information I have explained. Each and every point on the x-axis, the value of y, the coordinate of y will be 0, and any point on the y-axis, if I will take the value of abscissa, that is the x coordinate will be 0. On the y-axis, x coordinate will be 0. On the x-axis, y coordinate will be 0. Okay, student. If I will take x-axis, so y coordinate will be 0. If I will take y-axis, so x coordinate will be 0. This is very important. Okay, student. So each and every student has to remember it. Now next point I am also going to explain. If I have taken here one line which is parallel to the horizontal line and one line which is perpendicular to the horizontal line. So one line which is parallel to the horizontal line, here I have said that is the x-axis, and a line which is perpendicular to the y-axis, that is perpendicular to the horizontal line. That one I have to say here, that is the y-axis. Now, if these two lines are intersecting at a point, so that point I will say that is the origin, and origin is written as in this form origin. Now origin starts from, so I indicated here that is O. I denote here O, and its coordinate here, the value of x coordinate and y coordinate. The value of abscissa will be 0, and also the value of ordinate will be 0. So first value is x and second value is y, because any point is written in the form of P x comma y. So here x is the abscissa and y so y is the ordinate. So here the value of x is 0 and also the value of y is 0. Okay student, so this is the third point and this third point I am going to write here. Okay student, in language I had explained but I am going to write it in detail. Okay student, now I hope that you have already noted it. Now I am going to erase above data. After erasing above data, I will write third point here. Origin is also written as origin is also denoted as O. Origin is also denoted as O and its coordinate will be 0, 0 and its coordinate will be 0, 0. So these are the 3 points which are existing in the information of Cartesian plane and also quadrant. So student has to remember it very clearly because student will know about it. So student will solve any question which will be asked on the coordinate geometry. Because without concept question cannot be solved. So student first of all student has to know about the concept of the related topic and then student has to solve question. So student can solve each and every question very easy way. Okay, so this is the required way about quadrant. So I have explained here. Now here next I will explain about the sign of the quadrant. Sign of the quadrant here I have to also explain. Now wave of data I am going to erase here. After erasing I will draw the xy plane. After drawing xy plane I will write its sign convention also. Sign convention is important. Sign convention of coordinate geometry. Sign convention of the quadrant here I have to explain in detail. Now the line here I have taken that is the parallel to the horizontal line and that line I am saying here the x-axis and it will go up to plus infinity. And other line here I am going to say this is the x-axis and the intersection of these 2 points I will say that is the origin and this line I will say this is the y-axis and which is perpendicular to the x-axis. Okay student, so it is very clear and each and every student has to know this immediately. So here it will go up to plus infinity. Okay, now each and every student has looked about the scale. Now in scale you have to see that it is starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you will take any 2 consecutive number and between 2 consecutive number you will get the same distance and each distance is divided into 10 parts. So here I am saying you have to take distance between any 2 consecutive number that will be same. So here you have to make same scale here also. So here I am saying this is 1 because here this is the positive x-axis. So here I am taking 2 and here I am writing 3. Here will be 4 and here will be 5 and so on. Now when I will go in left hand side, so I will write this will be minus 1, this will be minus 1, this will be minus 2 and this will be minus 3 and so on. This will be minus 4 because from 0 to x-axis I will take positive sign. From 0 to positive x-axis I will take plus sign and from 0 origin to negative x-axis I will consider negative sign. Okay students, same I will follow positive on the positive direction, positive y direction. So here I will say this will be 1, and this will be 2, and this will be 3, and this will be 4, this will be 5, this will be 6, and so on. But here you have to concentrate and maintain. This distance will be same. This distance and this each and every portion will be same, because in the scale you see that is starting from 0 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. But you will take any two consecutive numbers, so you will get a distance, and that the distance is available in other two consecutive number, and between two consecutive number you will look, there will be 10 part, there will be 10 part. So you have to remember it. Same sign convention you have to follow here. Here will be -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. Okay, students. So it will go in y-axis, and I will say that will be go up to -infinity. This will go up to +infinity, and that will go up to -infinity. So from origin I will consider 0 to +infinity, and in downward side 0 to -infinity, and from on the x-axis I will consider from 0 to +infinity and 0 to -infinity on the negative x-axis direction. Okay, student. So this is the sign convention. Now here I have to write sign convention of the quadrant. Sign convention. Sign convention of the quadrants. Sign convention of the quadrant. So we have to know it's very easy way, because we have to take here two lines, and both lines are perpendicular to each other, and point of intersection I will see that is the origin. From origin I will take in the positive x-axis direction, I will consider +1, +2. That is same. I will follow the scale. I will write 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. That will go. And from 0 to -infinity I will write, and 0 to +infinity I will write, and also 0 to -y-axis direction I will write same. Okay, student. So here sign convention I have to write. When I was explaining about quadrant, so I have told you this will be first quadrant, this will be second quadrant, and this will be third quadrant, and this will be the fourth quadrant. So here I have to take one point. On that point I have to explain that point will follow in which quadrant. So I am going to explain that will be very easy way. So here first quadrant. In first quadrant I have to take sign plus. Means the value will be positive, and also the value of y coordinate will also be positive. So in first quadrant the value of x visa and ordinate both will be positive. Now here in the second quadrant I have to explain for the second quadrant I have to write here minus comma plus. Here the x visa value will be negative, but ordinate value will be positive, because x visa will go up direction, and ordinate will go up direction, but f visa will go inverted direction. So it will, its sign will be negative. So x coordinate will be negative, and here y coordinate will be positive. Now here I have to told you before when I was teaching about the concept of quadrant. So this will be third quadrant, because from the positive y-axis I have to move in anti-clockwise direction, and this will be and here I told you this will be first quadrant, second quadrant. Similarly this will be third quadrant. This will be third quadrant. Here I have written, and in this quadrant the value of x and y both will be negative. Here the f visa will have also sign negative and ordinate will also have sign negative. Okay, so now this will be fourth quadrant and here I will write quadrant. Quadrant that will be fourth quadrant and that quadrant sign will be plus minus. It means that we will say x coordinate will be positive and y coordinate will be negative. The x coordinate is also called abscissa and y coordinate is also called ordinate. Okay, so abscissa will have positive value and coordinate will have negative value. So we have to remember it. Always the intersection point of x axis and y axis already I have written here 0, 0. So ordinate x coordinate value of x coordinate will be 0 and the value of y coordinate will also be 0, and it is also represented by u because origin is starting from O. So I have written here O. Okay, so now already I have written in note 3 points. First point I have explained about coordinate. Now next 2 points are such that if any point I will take on the x-axis, so x coordinate will be there but y coordinate will have 0 value because if any point I will take on the x-axis, so its coordinate will be x comma 0. So x can be positive, x can be positive, or x can be negative. X can be positive or negative. On the x axis, on the origin, the value of x will be 0, but on the x axis will be either positive or negative. Okay, so general coordinate on the x axis will be x comma 0. Each and every student has to remember this information. On the x axis, the student has to remember this information. It is very important information. On the x axis, the x coordinate will be value, that value can be positive or negative. On the origin, its value will be 0. But on the y-axis, I will say on the y-axis, I can write any point on the y-axis that will be 0 comma y. So on the y-axis, x coordinate will always be 0. X coordinate will always be 0. Each and every student has to remember, because this is the required information. Each and every student has to remember, because any point which is available on the y-axis, the coordinate of x coordinate will be 0. Means x coordinate means abscissa, the value of abscissa will be 0, but on the x-axis I will say the ordinate value will be 0. Each and every time ordinate value will be 0 on the x-axis and abscissa will be 0 on the y-axis always. Okay, student, so these are the information which are available in the sign convention. If any point I will keep, so you can easily tell that point will lie either first, second, third, fourth quadrant are on the x-axis or y-axis. That will depend according to the given point. If point will be positive, both coordinate will be positive, so I will say that is the first quadrant. If first value will be positive and second will be negative, so I will say that will fall in the second quadrant. That point will fall in the second quadrant. If x coordinate and y coordinate both will have negative value, so I will say that point will fall in the third quadrant. Similarly, I will say if the x coordinate will have positive sign and y coordinate will have negative sign, so I will say that point will fall in the fourth quadrant. If x coordinate, the value of x is 0, so I will say that point will lie on the x-axis. That will depend on the nature of the y coordinate. If coordinate will be positive, so I will say that point will be on the y-axis above the origin. If the value of coordinate will be negative, so I will say that point will lie below the origin. Okay, students, so these are the information and we have to follow it clearly. Okay. If you are doing very well, so you like this live video and also you subscribe this educational channel, and also you share this live video with your college friend and students so that they can also improve their knowledge on this topic named is the coordinate geometry. Okay, so without, because coordinate geometry is very important in mathematics, because coordinate geometry, without coordinate geometry I can not solve any problem which are related to in trigonometry and also calculus, because calculus will have some certain point, because when I am reading about integration or differentiation, in that case integration is what is the meaning of integration, that is the increment in the variable, and the differentiation is that is the slope. If any curve is available, so we have to get the slope on the curve, so that if I have to calculate the slope of any point, so I will differentiate. So after differentiation, I will get the slope. Slope means uh, that is the tangent. So that tangent I can evaluate. So I will draw its diagram. So that diagram will follow the coordinate geometry. So coordinate geometry is available everywhere, because if coordinate geometry is clear to each and every question of math can be easily solved. Okay, so now we watch coordinate be any function which is derived in the form of y equal to fx. Fx. This fx is sorry. Here x is the variable, and this variable is lying on the x-axis, and when I put this is the operator when f of x is equal, so its meaning is y. So y is on the x-axis and only simple x is on the x-axis, and x, the value of x is also called domain, and the value of y is also called the real. So in calculus this coordinate geometry is very important. Okay, so even math is important, because math is the simply calculation of science, and science is very easy. Okay, so now further I am going to explain it, because after some time I will also get time, so I will explain about science 9th class, 10th class, 11th, 12th class also. Okay, so now here I am simply going to explain about the sign convention of the quadrant. So in first quadrant, I will take the sign of x and y, both will be positive. But in the second quadrant, the x coordinate will be negative and y coordinate will be positive. In the third quadrant, x and y both will be negative. But in the fourth quadrant, here I will take x coordinate will be positive and y coordinate will be negative. If any point which lie on the x-axis, that point will be in the form x, 0, x can be negative or positive, and it will go at origin. So the value of x will also be 0. Similarly, if any point which is lying on the y-axis, that point will fall in this form 0, y, and here the value of y can be positive from origin to above, and from origin to down it will be negative. But when point will be at origin, so the value of y will be 0. Okay, student. Now here I am going to write one question, and then you decide that point will lie where. So here I am going to simply write here, if any point that is a value is point 2 comma minus 4. So here I am saying this point is lying where in the xy plane. So I will say here x coordinate is positive here, and the sign of this 2 is plus and comma is a value, and here sign 4 value has sign minus. So here from the number I have got this sign, and this sign will lie in the fourth quadrant. So I will say this point will lie in the fourth quadrant. So first value is known as abscissa, and second value is also known as ordinate. So this I will say this is the plus 2. So I will draw a line which is parallel to the y-axis, and it will go like this. And also I will draw a line which is parallel to the y-axis, and that is minus 4 from the origin. So I will say I will draw a line which is parallel to the x-axis, and that line will cut the previous line. So I will say this is the point, and this coordinate will be 2 comma minus 4. So according to this way, I can represent the given point in the quadrant. So this is the coordinate. So 4 comma 2 I have represented here. 2 comma minus 4, that is in the fourth quadrant, and its actual position is here. So from the y-axis I have considered 2 distance, and from the x-axis I have considered minus 4 distance, because distance is always positive from the y-axis. From the y-axis I have taken here 2 unit, and from the x-axis I have taken here 4 unit, and minus sign indicate that it is in the fourth quadrant. So according to this way, I have to explain, I have to know about the sign convention of any coordinate point which are existing in the xy plane. Okay, student, if you have any doubt, so you comment, and I will see your comment positively. I will reply the answer of your comment. Okay, student, and if you are knowing very well, so you like this live video, and also you share this live video with your colleagues and students, so that they can also update, develop their knowledge on this topic. Simultaneously, I will say you subscribe more and more this educational channel. Okay, dear audience, thank you for watching. Jai Hind.